G-Man Boxing. Do you know what I mean? Every single live he donates. I see him on other lives donating. He's got the bag on it.
Alright, people. So, after watching True Geordie's interview with Tyson Fury, and after doing a live, just discussing it, people kept mentioning Gareth A. Davis in the chat. So, I looked at Gareth A. Davis's most recent IFL interview, and which he was saying that True Geordie, and of course, Gareth A. Davis, we know, like, Gareth Davis is not a nice guy. We know what he's like. And he was saying words to the effect of, well, True Geordie was a bit too confrontational with Fury, and, words to the effect of almost debating with Tyson Fury. And the way I had a viewing the interview that True Geordie gave with Tyson Fury was, no, he was not confrontational at all. He was very respectful the whole way through. He asked the questions that needed to be asked, and a lot of the answers, in my opinion, from Fury weren't satisfactory. So what was True Geordie going to do? Just kind of take it and move on? No, he was going to, put his point across as well. If he didn't feel the answer was satisfactory, which many of them weren't. So I thought it was a great interview. I really did. But it got me thinking, and I touched on this briefly in the video I did do about this. It really is a damning indictment with the way boxing and journalism is. And this is not a knock on the journalists in boxing, the Rob Tepperts or the, maybe somebody wants Andy from IFL, or not Andy from IFL, Andy from ID Boxing. People like that. It's not a knock on them. But if you think about it like this, True Geordie has asked True Geordie is the guy who's asked the questions that we want asked to Tyson Fury. No one in the boxing media has done that. To Tyson Fury anyway. I mean, people like us on YouTube, like Hatman and me, Chris, Jamie, etc. we have. But obviously we're just talking to our subscribers. We're not talking to Tyson Fury directly. And True Geordie's in a position because he is not a boxing YouTuber. He doesn't make a living off discussing boxing, interviewing boxers, etc. He has 2 million subscribers. As I said, I've never been a fan of True Geordie. I've briefly, I think a year or so ago, watched a few. I was like, this guy's not for me. No interest in listening to him, to be honest with you, but nothing against him personally, but just not for me. And I listened to this one, I thought it was very good, but he's not a boxing YouTuber. So he's had guys like Eddie Hearn on, I think he's interviewed AJ as well, but he doesn't make a living off interviewing fighters. So he's in a position where he can say what he wants to Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury can say, we'll never get another interview again. There's no skin off his nose. At the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything to him. He's going to keep making money from YouTube. He's going to keep doing what he needs to do and not interviewing Tyson Fury again. I mean, it's not going to keep him up at night. But if you think of it like this, you look at IFL, seconds out, ID Boxing, MJP, Ellie Setback, all channels we know and watch. Some great interviewers there. As I said, Rob Tebbert, in my opinion, the best in boxing for interviewing. I think he does a fantastic job. These channels, with the exception of ID Boxing, because they do a few kind of like podcasts, but other than that, their whole channel is based on interviews. The IFLs, the Behind the Gloves, etc. It's based on interviewing fighters. So they are constantly getting media credentials, press passes to these events. Now, as much as we want, because you have to be realistic at the end of the day, and this is more an issue with the way boxing is run from the promoter's end. You get someone like, Rob to go in and interview Tyson Fury. The next fisheye show that he does, and Tyson Fury's at it. You get Rob to go to that show, and he grills Frank Warren over the fact that the fight's going to be on pay-per-view. That in the WBC top 15 rankings, not BoxRec rankings. BoxRec rankings are irrelevant. There's better opponents who I'm sure they never even called or even had a conversation with about fighting Tyson Fury. If you put that on Frank Warren and did it to Tyson Fury again as well, do you know what would happen? ID Boxing would never be allowed in to another Queensberry show. They probably wouldn't be allowed to interview Tyson Fury even if he was at a Matchroom or Sky show, and that would hurt the channel financially. it would hurt them in terms of growth. At the end of the day, you could interview, I'm trying to just think of a fighter. Just say you interview Johnny Fisher and you get 2,000 views. You interview Tyson Fury, you get 250,000 views. It makes a massive difference. And if you grill a promoter, if you grill a manager, you grill a fighter, and you ask them the questions that we want asked, and if you do ask them the questions and you get an unsatisfactory answer, rather than go and, say, well, hang on a minute, that's not the answer I want, you're saying this, but, in previous interviews you said this, or you said this wouldn't be this, but it is. A good example would be in 2020. This was a very good interview that Rob Tepper did. This is back when he was on Boxing Social with Adam Smith, where he was really grilling Adam Smith, because Adam Smith categorically stated that Joshua versus Ruiz 2, where I think it was 25 pounds, was a once-off and wouldn't happen again. And of course, obviously, a year later, he's fighting Pulev. It's the same price. And Rob Tepper wasn't letting that go. And fair play to Rob Tepper. He was really going in with Adam Smith. And he was saying, like you said, and Adam was like, well, we did say that, only for the big Joshua fights. And he was like, well, he's fighting Pulev. Well, we consider it a bit, all this BS that Adam Smith was coming out with, trying to justify the price increase. If you rarely ever will see that. Because if you really grill someone like that, and I think at that time they were all in the bubble and stuff like that, and they were only given, I think with Rob Tepper probably knew that because they were in bubbles at the time, that unlikely he'd be going to many shows anyway, or because they only had so many, passes to give out, and the bigger guys, so he probably thought, like, I can get away with that. But if that was a normal show and he done that, be touch and go if you'd be getting invited back to any Sky shows anytime soon. And again, that's the power that these networks have, the promoters and boxers have. Like, at the end of the day, my channel, Hatman, Jamie, Dell, all of us guys here on YouTube, primarily we cover boxing news. We do previews, we do predictions, we do reviews. I cover a lot of news. I do a few documentaries. I have one planned for the next few weeks. Stay tuned for that. That's where we get the bulk of our viewerships, the bulk of our subscribers for. Yeah, some of us, myself, I like doing it now and again. We go to some events, we do interview fighters, but as I said, that's more for me, that's more for enjoyment rather than any revenue, So for me, it's not a loss to me if a promoter says, you can't come back to a show. It's like, well, that's fine, that's fair enough. Saves me a trip to wherever in the UK. Saves me having to pay for a hotel. That's no problem. I can still talk about yous. But if that happened to an IFL, a Boxing Social, an MJP, that's really going to hurt them and their channel. And what I'm getting at here is that that's the power that these boxers and these promoters have, the big time ones, that they can literally stop media passes, stop media credentials to some of these channels if they ask them questions they don't like. How are you ever going to get real journalism then? At the end of the day, True Geordie, as I said, he don't give a damn if he never interviews Tyson Fury again, because his channel is not an interviewing channel for just interviewing fighters. Yeah, he's a boxing fan, but he interviews a boxer once in a blue moon, and he doesn't give a you-know-what. That is such a damning indictment on the way it's ran when True Geordie is the guy asking the questions we want answered. It really is. How do we fix that? How do you actually fix it? I'm struggling to think how you'd actually fix that. Because at the end of the day, like Frank, I was going to say, I probably already said his name, but we'll call him back. We'll go back to Fish Eyes just in case. He's probably the worst. In fact, he's definitely the worst. You ask that lad a question he doesn't like and you don't cut it out of the video, because apparently he's asked several people in the past to, I think, what was it, he could screen the video before it goes up, and if there's questions in it he doesn't like, you take them out, and if you don't take, I think Ade had trouble with that, didn't he? Ade and Ryan back in the day, when I think they interviewed Frank Warren many years ago, and I remember him telling me that story, that he got into a spot of bother because they didn't want to, was it, I forget what it was, something like that, they didn't want to remove a part of the interview, and when they didn't, they were told, you're going to have problems if you don't. So something like that. So that's what Fish Eyes is, and that's what you're getting if you don't basically acquiesce to what they say. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And again, how are the questions ever going to be asked? You know, you people like me, Jamie Hatman, who ask the questions here, but we're asking to you subscribers. I'd love to be asking Tyson Fury those questions, but at the end of the day, like, I'm not going to get the chance to ask him, certainly not this year anyway. And if I did, I know myself, well, won't be getting an interview off him ever again. Crazy. That's crazy. That's the way it's gone. That's the way it's gone, unfortunately. Or has it always been like that now? Realistically, who knows? Just some food for thought in this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think? Do you think that a promoter needs to come along who just says, look, just ask me at it, I really don't care, and, you know, I'll have a bit of a back and forth with you? Because at the end of the day, isn't that what journalism is? You know, isn't that if you ask someone a question? So if Tyson Fury says something as silly as Usyk's not in my era, it's like, well, how was he not in your era? He turned pro the exact same time, well, more or less the exact same time as Anthony Joshua. You won your world title, I think it was November 28, 2015. He won his title September 2016. It's less than a year. How the hell do you define not being in your era when, you know, he literally, Joshua and him have had a career almost mirrored. Turned pro in gold at London 2012, turned pro 2013, both win world title 2016. How the hell is he not in your era? That's BS right there. And obviously maybe they wouldn't say it quite like that, but you know what I mean. You'd obviously counteract that if, you know, in a journalist point of view. And if you even so much as try to do that, you'd be just gone. See you later. You're not coming back. It's crazy, isn't it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. For now, people, I will talk to you. Peace.